In this video, we'll delve into the strategy behind Iran's launching of missiles and drones and explore how the Israeli air defense system reacted to these attacks with the assistance of allies. We'll also look at the engineering behind these weapons. So stay tuned and don't miss a beat. This is how it happened, explained in super simplified animations. Part 1. Israel launched an attack on the Iranian Damascus embassy in Syria, taking out a couple of Iranian generals. Part 2. Then Iran responded with an attack of around 170 drones launched from Iran towards Israel. An hour later, UAVs were joined by over 30 cruise missiles capable of reaching Israel in just over an hour. Finally, over 120 ballistic missiles, which take just between 10 and 15 minutes to arrive, were launched from Iran. At the same time, drone attacks were launched by the Houthis in Yemen and Iranian-backed militias in Iraq, while Hezbollah fired missiles at Israeli positions in the Golan Heights. Let's explain why they are launched at different time intervals, as these drones usually have a speed of around 114 miles per hour, which translates to approximately 185 kilometers per hour. In comparison, a cruise missile has a speed of around 500 miles per hour, which is about 800 kilometers per hour. A ballistic missile, on the other hand, has a speed of around 3,836 miles per hour, translating to approximately 6,174 kilometers per hour. That is exceptionally fast, and as a result, will catch up swiftly. So in summary, when the drones reach the designated target, the cruise missiles and the ballistic missile will eventually strike their targets at almost the same time. Part 3. How Israel and its allies responded. While the UK fighter jets probably came from Cyprus along with the Voyager Airbus tanker taking on a few drones from the south, the Jordanian Air Force started by neutralizing multiple drones launched from its own land, as they were not keen on seeing drones crashing on Jordanian soil. American fighter jets from the north also neutralized around 100 drones, while the US destroyers tackled a couple of dozens of ballistic missiles. The French Rafale fighter jets also downed several drones flying over Iraq and Jordan. As the Allied forces took out a quarter of the drones and missiles, the Israeli defense system kicked into action. Now let's take a look how the Israeli defense system works. The Israeli defense system consists of 3 tiers. First up is the long-range aero missile defense system, which was designed specifically with Iranian missiles in mind. Each of these system rockets costs a few $1,000,000, and they can intercept missiles outside the Earth's atmosphere, resulting in enhanced protection. The second layer of defense is the so-called David Sling system, designed for taking out missiles and drones. Finally, the Iron Dome stops most short-range rocket attacks in Israel. Part 4. Israel responded by striking the Isfahan Air Base, a major facility that has long housed Iran's fleet of American-made F-14 Tomcats, purchased before the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The strike resulted in the destruction of the famous S-300 air defense system, primarily the radar, which is estimated to cost around $300 million. According to reports in the fog of war, the radar of the S-300 defense system was damaged, but the missile launchers remained intact. This fire control radar is responsible for directing the missiles toward their targets and is a crucial component of the system. Let's examine the cost implications of a single day of missile attacks. Iran expended over $200 million by launching ballistic missiles along with drones, whereas the IDF spent $1 billion to defend itself. This includes the Era missile, which costs around $2.5 million. The David Sling costs around $1 million to produce, while the Iron Dome costs around $20,000 to $100,000 for a single missile, depending on inflation. By contrast, Iranian ballistic missiles cost around $200,000 each, and its drones only $20,000 to $50,000 each. However, considering the damaged S-300 radar system, the total cost is almost $400 million for the Iranian regime. This highlights the fact that war is expensive for any sides. This is the Iranian tactical ballistic missile called the Shahab, which is the Iranian variant of the Russian Scud missile. It is a single-stage, liquid-propelled missile with a maximum range of 600 miles, and it carries a single warhead with a maximum payload of almost a ton of explosive. Let's compare this to a person to understand its size. It has a length of around 11.25 meters and a diameter of around 0.88 meters. Let's take a look at Israel's $1 million anti-ballistic missile. The missile launcher unit, the Green Pine radar antenna, and the Arrow missile. The missile launcher unit is composed of 6 erector launcher tubes housing ready-to-fire missiles. Positioned at the rear of a 2-axle trailer, each launcher, when fully loaded with 6 launch tubes carrying ready-to-fire missiles, weighs 35 tons. The Green Pine radar serves as the warning and fire control radar for the Arrow 3 anti-ballistic air defense missile system. It plays a crucial role in target detection and guidance. The Arrow operates as a 2-stage missile. Let's look inside this engineering technology. This is the solid propellant booster and sustainer rocket motors. At the rocket's peak sits the ignition chamber, triggering the combustion of the solid propellant when activated. This propellant isn't just any substance. It's a meticulously crafted blend of fuel and oxidizer poured into a casing and then cured. Encasing this blend is a protective shell called the motor case. At the core of the rocket lies the propellant burning zone. Here, the solid fuel and oxidizer react, producing incredibly high-temperature combustion gases, which helps to launch the rocket at incredible speed above the Earth's surface. Moving further to the front, the most important part of the missile is the kill vehicle, which can be divided into 3 basic parts. The second stage is the propulsion system with a thrust vectoring nozzle. Just above it is the warhead, a directed high-explosive fragmentation weighing 150 kilograms, which translates to 330 pounds. The third stage is the seeker, capable of pivoting itself to track its target. But what's the big deal about this long-range anti-ballistic missile system? Let's start with the propulsion system. The famous THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, uses a divert attitude control thrusters. In comparison to the Arrow 3 kill vehicle, which utilizes a thrust vectoring nozzle with a solid fuel rocket, it has a shorter and more limited burn time. It has a few advantages, one of them being the ability to compensate for a lack of radar accuracy. When the radar sends the interceptor to an inaccurate target location, the Arrow 3 kill vehicle can adjust its trajectory. Since intercontinental ballistic missiles travel at very high speeds, the kill vehicle must change its trajectory based on newer, more accurate radar data from its seeker. A failure to fully divert the course to the new target would result in a failure to intercept. The thrusters allow the Arrow missile to change direction very quickly and flexibly. On the other hand, THAAD uses divert attitude control systems. Although highly capable, it is not as flexible or fast enough when it needs to change directions. Furthermore, Arrow 3 thrusters allows for the purposeful launch of the interceptor before accurate radar data is available, knowing it can alter its trajectory later, taking full advantage of the radar's range. Moving to the sensors, THAAD depends on a wide field of view seeker and physically moves to keep the target in the seeker's field of view, which slows down the missile. On the contrary, the Arrow 3 missile uses a pivoting seeker, capable of rotating on each side, thus allowing for extreme lead pursuits, flexibility, and engagement of threats. Let's take a quick look at the Iranian drones. This is the Islamic Resistant Kamikaze drone. It has a rocket-assisted takeoff located at the bottom. When launched, it thrusts the drone to a suitable height and drops off the booster, as shown in the animation. It then switches on the propeller engine for the remainder of its flight. The famous Arish-2 drone also requires a rocket-assisted takeoff, and there is a propeller at the back. When struck, it does pack a punch with its shockwave effect. Option number 3 is the Kara drone. This is a jet-powered drone that can travel a range of around 1,000 kilometers. Similar to the others, it has a rocket-assisted takeoff that ejects the excess weight when it has fully utilized the booster. Interestingly, this drone can also carry the Mark 82 general-purpose bomb, a 500-pound unguided low-drag weapon. Option 4 is the tried and tested Shahed drone that can be launched from this truck with rocket power-assisted takeoff. This carries a 50-kilogram warhead and can destroy or damage a building as seen in Ukraine. Check out our other engineering videos like how to drive a Bradley fighting vehicle, the engineering behind an aircraft carrier, or how a US destroyer works. Please hit the sub and notification bell to help us produce more videos like these.